Coffee is now world's one of the most consumed beverages, and when we think to buy a cup of coffee from any store, which brand name comes first in our minds? Yes, it is Starbucks, which is now world's one of the leading coffee producing brand, which worths more than $100 billion. But the way how we see Starbucks today is not the same how it was started, back on the 30th of March 1971, in Pike Place Market, Seattle, in Washington in the United States. Starbucks was started by three young friends named Zev Siegel, Jerry Baldwin and Gordon Boker, and their business was a quite successful startup in the beginning. So they were able to set up 5 more different stores within a decade, but during that time, Starbucks only used to sell the coffee beans, tea, and spices in sealed cans. But the Starbucks that we see today, as world's one of the biggest coffee selling brand, was only possible due to another American man, named Howard Schultz, who gave to the birth of a new Starbucks which we see today. Howard Schultz was born on the 19th of July 1953, in Brooklyn, New York, in a middle-class family. His mother was a receptionist and his father by profession was a delivery driver. But, the life of Howard was not easy since from the beginning. In fact, his family faced extreme poverty and their financial condition became very poor when his father lost the job of the delivery man, after a serious leg injury. So, to provide for his family, Howard started selling newspaper and also worked in a local restaurant, to feed his family, and obviously, it's not possible to continue his further studies as he used to do it earlier, but he was quite good at football, which eventually earned him a scholarship to study in the Northern Michigan University. But he knew that football was not his final career, so he ignored the scholarship, and earned a major degree in skills and communications. To fulfill his studies, Howard had to do multiple part-time jobs, and he even went to the extent of selling his own blood, just to pay the fees for his studies. After he successfully achieved his degree, he tried many jobs to earn his life, and he finally ended up as the vice president of the Hammer Plast Company. But Howard was still not happy with his work. While in 1981, he discovered Starbucks where he can see his future. So he started begging the owners of the Starbucks to appoint him as an employee of the company, and he finally succeeded in joining Starbucks. After joining the company, in 1983, Howard went to Italy for some business-related work, where he came across a wonderful atmosphere where the Italians have some special relationship regarding coffee. Here the people come to the coffee stores just for relaxing, dating, hangouts, to celebrate any parties or any sorts of business deals, and spend hours talking with each other. This scenario was completely different in America, where people comes to a coffee store, drink their coffee as quickly as possible and again get back to their work. This wonderful atmosphere for the love of coffee in Italy inspired him so much that on his return back to America, he put this idea in front of the Starbucks owners to start a coffee selling store. Eventually, the idea of Howard was completely rejected by the Starbucks owners, as they didn't want to spoil their successful business while venturing into a new field. But, Howard stuck to his point of starting a new coffee store, so he left his job, and started his own coffee-selling brand, named Il Giornale. But setting up his own coffee-selling brand was not at all easy by Howard, as he was already rejected by 90% of the 242 investors of Starbucks to invest in his new company. But Howard didn't lose hope and worked very hard on his new business. When finally in 1986 his business was finally settled, Howard's business started growing rapidly, but now Starbucks was facing a huge loss, and finally in 1987, the owners of the Starbucks wanted to sell the company. Howard didn't wanted to lose the chance of buying the Starbucks, so he somehow managed to convince the investors to invest in his company, and finally he succeeded in buying the Starbucks for $30 million. After buying Starbucks, he merged his company, Il Giornale, with Starbucks. Now, to make Starbucks the #1 coffee-selling brand, he used the aggressive expansion strategy, and when in 1992, when Starbucks launched their IPO, there was already 165 Starbucks stores in United States. But, behind the massive growth of Starbucks, there is a brilliant business strategy, which led Starbucks to expand itself as an international coffee brand, with more than 15,000 Starbucks stores by 2006. Here Howard had used some brilliant tactics for the growth of Starbucks, which made its reach to almost every corner of the world, at present day. So here are the top 5 business strategy of Starbucks which led to its growth, and the first is the sensory marketing. Starbucks used to crush the coffee beans right inside the cafe, and due to this the smell of caffeine spreads inside the whole cafe, which attracts more and more customers towards the store. When customers see the coffee beans crushed in front of their eyes, it subconsciously attracts their mind to buy more and more cups of coffee, and the smell adds more taste and flavor in their subconscious minds, which makes the customers wait for a longer period of time, while staring at the process of crushing the coffee beans, resulting in more and more selling of coffee cups. Starbucks' next business marketing strategy is the mistake marketing strategy, which is one of the most powerful strategy used by Starbucks to spread its brand value to customers. Now you might have noticed that Starbucks never advertised its coffee neither in social media, nor in television or through online, or any sponsorship, so how they became so famous? It's just due to the mistake strategy of Starbucks which made it so famous. In this case, Starbucks intentionally writes the wrong spelling of the name of the customer who is going to buy the coffee. So it's obvious that the customer will get surprised after seeing his or her name written in wrong spelling, and subconsciously he or she will post the photo of the wrong spelling of the name in social media, which will reach to millions of people through social media, leading to marketing of Starbucks for absolutely free of cost. Some might think that the wrong spelling of the name is just a mistake made by the baristas of the cafe, but it's actually not a mistake, but was done with full intention just for the marketing of Starbucks through social media. The third business strategy of Starbucks is the status symbol. We all are familiar with the fact that the price of each cup of coffee in Starbucks is comparatively costlier than the regular coffee available in any other local cafe. The main reason behind this is to make Starbucks as the symbol of status, just than a normal cafe. Higher the price of coffee means that only the elite class people would come to the store, rather than any normal people, which makes Starbucks undoubtedly premium. The simple logic is that, more the number of elite class people approaching their cafe rather than normal middle class customers, the more will be the brand value of the company. And the fourth business strategy of Starbucks is called the extreme personalization. Starbucks gives their customers more than 87,000 drink combinations, and also gives the freedom to their customers to make their own coffee drink combinations, which brings a great level of customers' self-satisfaction, and again, it subconsciously triggers the customers to order more cups of coffee just to taste all the new drink combinations offered by them. Strategy is related with the sensory marketing strategy, as the customer will take a longer time to choose the actual drink combination of coffee a person wanted to have, which will make that person wait longer than usual, and the person can feel the nice smell of coffee beans during that time, and ultimately in most of the cases, the customers ends up as the regular customer of that particular Starbucks store, which again boosts up their sales. The last and the fifth strong business strategy of Starbucks is advanced technology. Starbucks is known to the entire world as the early adopter of technology. At present, the Starbucks app provides their customers with the nutritional value of each different cups of coffee, and also provides their customers with different rewards for using their apps. This are the reason that the Starbucks app is capable of generating up to 30% of the total profit margin earned annually by the entire company. Starbucks also launched the loyalty cards, which are basically for the regular customers of Starbucks, and the benefit of this card is that one can get discounts on coffee cups after every interval of time, or could get free coffee cups for using this loyalty card. These are the main business strategies of Starbucks, which led to expand exponentially, and to have more than 35,000 stores by 2022, all around the world without doing any sorts of advertisements. Now seeing the success of Starbucks, Howard decided to take retirement from the company, and transferred the CEO position in the hands of Jim Donald in the year 2000. Everything was going fine, until in 2007, the financial crisis led Starbucks to face a severe loss, which eventually led to the downfall of 50% of their stock price. The extreme loss of Starbucks almost made it to bankrupt, when Howard Schultz again returned back to the company as the CEO, to save Starbucks from going bankruptcy. His return back to Starbucks immediately led to 9% growth to their stock price. Now to save Starbucks, Howard closed more than 600 stores in 2008 and more than 300 stores in 2009, including a mass layoff of 6,700 employees just to save Starbucks from any further loss. On 26 February 2008, all the stores of Starbucks were shut down for 3 hours, when Howard taught his employees how to make better cups of coffee with a better taste. It was estimated that Starbucks had suffered a loss of more than $6 million during this process, but ultimately this strategy of Howard once again made Starbucks to stand up back on his feet. If we analyze the stock price of Starbucks, then from 2010 to 2020, the value of Starbucks had increased more than 1,600%. And, Howard also announced to set up more than 60,000 stores by 2030, making his name to enter into the list of billionaires, with a personal net worth of about $3.8 billion. Now after watching this video, let us know your opinion on the success story of Starbucks, and also their business strategy, below in the comment section, which made Starbucks to establish itself as an international coffee brand.